Hi, my name is Tessa Holtz. I'm the Assistant Dean of Students for the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. And today we're going to talk about understanding and managing stress. We all have a lot going on. We have family, some of us work, some of us have social engagements, some of us have two jobs, some of us care for small children or elderly parents. And so it's really important for us to understand and find ways for us to cope. And so when we start to think about stress, it's really important to remember that a little stress can give us energy and it can go a long way. So some stress is actually good for us. It can be helpful. It can keep us aware of our environment. But it's when we start looking at that long term stress that it can become problematic. That's where it can drain our energy and cause us other physical and harmful side effects. And so that's where we want to make sure that we're keeping in mind what is good stress and where it may start becoming a problem. I would imagine that most of us know stress when we feel it, but stop to think about what are some of the things that can cause us stress. Is it juggling too much? Is it sometimes we don't feel we're being respected? Is it because we are caring for others? Could it be that someone's not understanding us, that we're feeling miscommunication? Maybe we feel inadequate. There are a lot of different reasons why we can feel stress. Just doing too much at one time, having high expectations can cause us stress. And so the first thing is just important to understand what causes you stress. So being able to identify those and maybe even jotting those down just so that you remember and they can help you trigger. I remember when you have some of those events taking place. And it's actually it's okay, like I said, to have some stress in our life. But we also want to identify how we react to that stress, right? So stop and think about some of the reactions that you may have when you're feeling stress. It might be that you get a headache. I have a tendency to get migraines. Some people sweat. Some people get really red in the face or their neck. Some people get sick to the stomach. Some people bite their fingernails. You might have a rapid heartbeat. Um, some people get to the point where they want to shut down and they don't want to go out. And so here again, after identifying some of the things that cause us stress, we want to identify those things that how we react to stress. And again, maybe writing those down so that you can identify them when they start happening. And it's really important to remember that stress can affect us in different ways, but it can also be physical, mental, and emotional. So when it becomes physical, it begins as a physical response. Our bodies release hormones such as adrenaline, and too much of that can cause heart disease, high blood pressure, ulcers, strokes. It can make us less resistant to colds and the flu and other medical issues. So it's really important to be able to understand that. Mentally, sometimes our thinking becomes muddled. It becomes difficult to concentrate and we are easily distracted. Our judgment becomes impaired and we can make poor decisions or maybe stop making decisions at all. So you can see how mentally it can be a problem. And then emotionally, it can also lead to a loss of emotional control, resulting in frustration, anger, depression, self anxiety. Some people start self medicating with alcohol, drugs, or food, cigarettes. So again, understanding how stress impacts us is really important, and identifying that it can get worse is important as well. And so keeping those three areas in mind: physical, mental, and emotional, and how it can impact your stress levels. It can impact how we treat other people too. And this is where we sometimes maybe realize it after the fact, after we have maybe behaved in a way that we wish we hadn't. So stop and think about how have you reacted to someone else when you've been under stress. Some of us become unsociable. Some of us lash out, we get angry, or maybe we cry. Some people might experience absenteeism, whether it's at work or in school. Maybe you over communicate, under communicate, stop communicating. Some people, it affects their sleep. Maybe you sleep more, too much, or maybe you're not sleeping at all because you're worried. Some of us get a little snippy, or short tempered. And so again, this is really important that you identify how you react, because now that you know some of the things that cause you stress, you know how you react personally. And now you can identify how you might react to some other people, because that's really important too. We don't want to take our stress out on others, and being able to identify that's really important. And there are some ways we can cope with stress. So not only, does it help us being able to identify what causes stress, how we react to it, and how we react to others, but there are things we can do to help ourselves. So a couple things: emotional intelligence. Start to recognize when your stress is becoming too much. Um, Stop and take a little step back when you see that happening. Take time every day to appreciate some of the good things. Sometimes our stress is caused because we're feeling very negative. And so just identifying 3 good things every day can really make a difference in our day and how we look at the glass half empty or half full. Try not to get too overwhelmed. Easier said than done sometimes, but learn how to prioritize or break tasks into small chunks, take breaks, things like that. Exercising is a great way to deal with stress. I'm not talking about running a marathon, just standing and doing some stretches or jumping jacks or just moving in place can actually get that blood flowing and make you feel a little better. Sometimes just taking a break. 15 minutes just to sit in peace and quiet might be okay. Other people might want to get out and go for a walk or go for a run, doing some yoga, reading a book, whatever makes you feel good. Do a little bit of that for yourself. Eat well. We have to feed our body, we have to feed our brain. And if we don't eat well, that's going to impact our stress and how we react. Sleep is another one. Try not to get sleep deprived. Um, when you go to sleep with a positive attitude so that you sleep well and you're not sitting there thinking about all the things that you have to do. Limit your drugs, alcohol. If you have a tendency to eat when you're stressed out, being able to identify that, because those things can just aggravate your anxieties. The cigarettes or drugs and alcohol can. Don't add to your workload. Again, this is easier said than done, but if you can avoid putting more on your plate, that's going to help you with the stress. And then talk to someone. If we start to see that our stress is getting to the point where we can't go into work or we can't submit our assignments, we feel like there's just no hope, that's where you want to talk to someone, because life's always going to have some sort of stress. And it's just important to know that we can expect stress, but it's how we handle it that can make a difference. And it's our choice to determine how we handle and react to our own stress. So you can do this. You got it. Good luck.